if one of the panel members call you, you probably get help. And I remember, I guess the director was busy or something, but I got a call from Colonel Bob Caban. And when I heard it, I was in my office, I said, shoot, yeah, executive deal. And then he sort of just shooting the bull, and he's asked me about the Columbia Accident Investigation Board, the work I did there, my group did, and making small talk. So I said, okay, so maybe this isn't a rejection, maybe he's just a call for basically just to thank me for the work we did. And then he said, hey, Jose, I said, what's that? I said, yes. He said, are you replaceable? I said, everybody's replaceable. I said, if I have at least 2 people. If I don't have 2 people in my staff that can replace me, I'm not doing my job. He said, well, that's great, because how would you like to join us in the astronaut office? And man, I did my happy dance. And then I hung up, and I quickly went home to tell my wife. And then we called my parents, because they're in California. And then the big hardest part was, this was about February, and they said, you can't say anything until May. Man, what a secret to keep. I can tell my staff, I can tell anybody. My parents can tell anybody. And then Cinco de Mayo at the Smithsonian, the 19th class of astronauts got introduced.
Wow, that is a long time not to say anything.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they wanted me to prepare to make all the preparations work-wise. So I could understand that.
Wow. That is an exciting story.
Yeah.
I like the way it was portrayed in the film, and I understand that Hollywood always takes some license, right, to say things.
Yes.
But anyway, that is actually very good.
Yeah, they'll give you a call if you're in the finalists. If you're not in the finalists, you get the letter saying sorry. And then after they call you and say congratulations, they send you a letter that verifies congratulations, you've been selected. Here's your report date and some of the details.
So once you reported for duty, and I thought it was great how they portrayed how challenging the training is.
It is. Be careful what you wish for. That's the lesson I learned there. Because you think that once you get selected, the hard part's over. No, it's barely begins. It's very challenging. And you got all these great individuals. I mean, you got these jet fighter pilots, you got these medical doctors, you got helicopters, you got Navy SEALs, and then you got Jose.
So, I mean, I thought it depicted really well how hard the training was, but was there something in particular that you look back on and said, wow, that was really tough, or it was one of the hardest things that you had to do during your training?
I think it's the whole process of it. I think, if you grow up in the military, you're operations oriented, and following procedures and doing things quickly comes natural to you. When you're a nerdy engineer, you want to trace the switch. You switch all the way to see what it affects. And they kept telling me, stop doing that. Just know that this switch does this. And it took me a while for my chip to get programmed to say, okay, you don't have to analyze this, just follow the procedures. And so that was one of the things it was more of a professional culture change that I had to do. And so I think as civilians, when we come and train as an astronaut candidate, I think that's the part we need to learn. And I wish someone would have told me a lot earlier. I sort of found out on my own. I said, okay, I gotta do that, I gotta do this.
Well, something else I thought the film portrayed really well was the importance of teamwork and belief in each other and support of each other, because you rely on each other to survive.
That's right.
In space, because things always go wrong.
That's right.
And so I thought it did such a great job of how you engender, especially among high-performing, competitive individuals, right? That you've really got to be a team. and working together.
That's right, yeah.
And so,
and-
could you speak a little bit more about that?
Yeah, well, when you get assigned to a crew, you'll have some of these team building exercises. You know, some of them are like NOS, National Outdoor Leadership Series, where you're out there in the wild for about 18 days camping and very little food, and you try to gather some of your food. And so you start learning, spending time kind of like in a camping, hiking environment, and you start learning each other's strengths and weaknesses so that you work well together. You learn each other's personalities. You also do cold weather training in that sense. So they put you in stressful environments so that you start bonding and building a relationship with your crewmates. This is all before you even start training. And then you begin your 18 months worth of training. You get moved into an office where all the crew members are in the same office. So you see each other every day and you become a family. It's like afterwards it's like a fraternity. You know, they're your brothers and sisters for life because you went through this amazing experience together.
Oh, that's fantastic. We're running about almost out of time, but I do, our QR code is not working on the screen, so I apologize for that. And so we're gonna see if there are a couple of questions, and Jay here is going to help with a microphone. So if you could raise your hand if you have a question. Why don't we go to this gentleman here, Jay, to your right?
Sorry, I just typed it out. So there were so many time jumps in the movie. Is there a period of time that was skipped over that you feel like is important that maybe wasn't covered in the movie? Either a difficult time or a positive time?
No, I think it's more of a positive time. You know, when I started at the lab, I worked developing an X-ray laser that was going to be positioned up in space. I was a team of about 200 people. And it was a nuclear pumped X-ray laser to be deployed up in space. And then that was 5 years. I worked at the lab 16 years. The last 6 years was going to Siberia, working in the nuclear non-proliferation arena, which you saw. The middle part is the part you don't see. When the X-ray laser program gets canceled because the Soviet Union dissolves, Big Bad Wolf goes away, so justification for Star Wars defense projects go away, they get canceled. So when it gets canceled, the lab tells all 200 of us, go find another job. The lab's 12,000 people, so you can find another project to charge to. And everybody did that except 2 of us. I had been working 5 years developing 3D X-ray Monte Carlo code, characterizing how X-rays interact in 3D. And I told my boss, Clint Logan, that you saw there, I told my boss, I think I have something here. I